Hey guys, Tara from House of Tortured Souls here. I wanted to give a first impressions of the new trailer from A24, which is Midsommer. Uh, and I just saw it the other day, and I am a huge A24 fan. Obviously, Green Room. I love The Witch, so I kind of wanted to give a quick little first impressions of just the trailer. This film is going to come out on August 9th, I believe. I'm not sure of how wide of a release it'll be. Hopefully, it is a wide release. A couple of the last A24 films have certainly been more of a wide release, which is nice. So let's hope, let's hope that it's a wide release and I get to see it opening night, because I certainly will. So if you haven't caught it, stop this right now. Go watch the trailer and come back. I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler on kind of what my impressions of the film are so far. So, when I first watched this, and I'm definitely a trailer watcher. Like, I have to watch a trailer. I know that a lot of people out there don't, and they prefer to walk in very cold. I have to watch a trailer, especially for one that I'm really excited for. And I am really excited for most A24 films that come out. So it's nice to see them continuously putting out films that are just different, that aren't mainstream, that make you think a little bit, that make you turn off the cell phone and sit and pay attention. And I really like that about A24. So I watched the trailer, and I just watched it again about 5 minutes ago just to kind of refresh myself. And kind of the basic premise is that a group of kids go to a 9-day festival, and kind of stuff just kind of goes crazy after that. It certainly has a cult-ish vibe, and I am a very big fan of cult-based films. I love the idea that religion kind of poisons people. And cult followings kind of manipulate people's minds. I love I love that aspect of films. So if it's a cult based film, I've probably seen it, and I probably like it if it's pretty decent. So it's nice to see another kind of cult based film. This film is from Ari Aster, who is the director of Hereditary. And if you have not seen Hereditary, I highly recommend it. It is a slow burn. If you don't like slow burn films, you're probably not going to like most A24 films. I'm just going to throw that out there. If you don't like being able to unplug for 2 hours and just sit there and get immersed in a film, you're not going to like most A24 films. If you appreciate different atmospheric tones, the general feeling of uncomfortableness, or just unsettled, you are going to like most A24 films. If what you're expecting is jump scares, you're not really going to get those in these types of films. And I'm assuming that Midsommer is going to be no different. Hereditary had maybe a few jump scares, but I feel like they were very well played. They were important jump scares, if that makes sense. Not like a typical, Paranormal Activity, where, the music just swells and boom. And it's a boo. There's nothing it's so cheap to me. So when I see horror films that do that a lot, and that's what they rely on, I tend to not like them as much. So when I see films that just make you feel uncomfortable and make you feel unsettled and just creepy and kind of just a general what the fuck is going on type of thing, those are the films I relate to. So that is why I liked The Witch very much. The Witch is probably my favorite horror film in the last 10 years, give or take. Hereditary is a very close second. I was thoroughly creeped out from that film. Green Room is up there, obviously. I loved that movie. That is a less slow burn film than most A24s. So I think that most people that watched it enjoyed it because it was more fast-paced than the other ones. The Witch is very, very slow burn. The ending has a great payoff, and that's why I love that film. I understand why people don't like it. It is not for everybody. I just happen to really like it. So Sound off below, do me a favor and sound off below kind of what your feelings are on A24. And there's something that I kind of want to dive into just a little bit, since we're kind of in the topic of A24 films. I watch most of them that come out. I just watched First Reformed last night. So I like most of their styles. There's some that fell a little short for me. I didn't particularly like Killing of a Sacred Deer. That was a little bit above kind of either my intellect or just my general taste in films. It hit the weird scale on the opposite side of where I want to watch a film. So that one I didn't particularly care for. Most other films I really enjoyed from A24. But at least kind of sticking with Ari Aster, I remember when I first watched Hereditary's trailer, I had no idea what was going on. It was very scattered. Really all that you could tell from the trailer was that the grandmother died and maybe people inherited some bad things from her. I kind of walked into that film expecting more of like a bad seed, where, you know, everybody kind of goes crazy. And that was not exactly what happened. Really, the film was a cult-based film. It turns out that, you know, the grandmother is part of this cult, very similar to Rosemary's Baby, at least in that respect, where, you know, kind of the ending is the ultimate payoff. And there's some imagery in Hereditary that I don't think I'll ever get out of my head. I mean, there was so many what the fuck moments in that film, from Charlie, you know, getting her head getting lopped off from the telephone pole, which is actually foreshadowed if you rewatch the film. And there's a lot of that, which I like too. So it has so much rewatchable value, which is nice. There's stuff that you may have missed in the first time that you saw it, and then you watch it again and you're like, oh, that makes sense, that connects to there. And I like films that do that, because I do like to rewatch films. I am a person that buys a lot of films, obviously. I like to be able to rewatch them. I like to be able to go back and see things that I missed, or see things that I didn't exactly understand at the time or agree with. After I read other people's reviews or interviews or any kind of articles about the film, I like to be able to go back and kind of rewatch it. And Hereditary is definitely one of those films. Upon the first viewing, I absolutely loved the film. It was just start to finish great. It kept me thoroughly creeped out for almost every minute of that film. There's so many different imageries. The ants, God, the ants on the head. I'll never get that out of my head, and it's in such a good way. It was such a great payoff, because that wasn't what you were expecting. You were expecting Charlie to be this, you know, huge part of this film, and when she dies, you're just like, what the hell is going on? And it just kind of spirals. Toni Collette, in my opinion, deserved an Oscar nomination for her role. She was outstanding as the mom, and just to see her go from 0 to 60 in such a short time was just incredible. The whole cast of Hereditary was really, really good. The son was very good. He was in My Friend Dahmer, if you have not seen it, and he was great in that. It was just such a great film. And I am not the type that gets creeped out very easily. I'm not really scared of anything. I don't really have a general uncomfortableness, except for apparently A24 films. But upon leaving the theater of Hereditary, I kept hearing the cluck, the like clicking noise. And I am not a type of person that, you know, hears noises or is anything weird, but I kept kind of hearing it. And me and Brown actually drove separate. I was at work. I met him, you know, at the movie theater. We drove home. And I kept seeing flashes of light. There was a car on my way home that had its headlights off that like high beamed me at one point. And then I was coming around a bend on the way home, and there was a click sound, one of the clucks from the film. And I swear I was just like freaked out. So I love that something so simple can kind of freak you out like that. And that was just great. So I came home thoroughly creeped out, and it was pretty awesome. I saw Hereditary one more time in the theaters, and then obviously I bought it, and it's held up. I watched it a few times since then. It's still an amazing film. Toni Collette is amazing. The kids are great. Everybody is great. The one friend, so to speak, of Toni Collette, who's also part of the cult, is in Handmaid's Tale, and Aunt Lydia, and she is a crazy bitch in there, and I don't know why I would assume that walking into Hereditary that she would be like the good guy, but I did. I stupidly assumed that she would be the good guy, and she was not. So it was just such a great film, and I'm so excited to be able to see another film from Ari Aster. And Hereditary was his first feature film, which was really cool. And it was just great. It was shot very well. Start to finish, it just had these different things that I haven't seen in a long time. So you can tell that he's very particular about sound. And you can tell that from the Midsommer trailer. There's a lot of different swells in the music, just in the trailer. There's a lot of like different sounds going on. And when you rewatch the Hereditary trailer, there's the clucks, which are a big part of Hereditary, and there's some other just different sounds that are going on. So it certainly seems like Ari Aster, the director, is into make the audience feel uncomfortable with sound, and I think that that's a different take on things. Yeah, everybody knows if the music swells, the monster's coming out and something bad's gonna happen. Everybody knows that, but with just doing something so silly like a cluck, you wouldn't really expect that would be a bad thing. Like, it might just be a nervous tick, or it's, the way somebody talks or something like that. And it's interesting to see that he kind of took a different aspect of it. So I'm interested to see kind of where Midsommer takes the different sound stuff. There's still crazy, beautiful looking cinematography going on. It looks like it's at least reminded me, Midsommer's trailer reminded me very much of like a Holland, Denmark, Netherlands type feel, at least with the colors, and kind of similar to like a Swiss Made type of thing. And if anybody has a different opinion, you're more than welcome to let me know how you felt when you watched it. And this is just my opinion, and who am I? So certainly, if I'm off base, by all means, correct me. But that's kind of what I felt when I watched it. It made me think kind of that way, that this was going to be similar to that. I don't know what the festival is going to entail. I don't know if it's going to be just a cult that's within this or whatever. One of the quotes from the trailer is, you can't move, you can't speak, or however that, and I kind of thought about that, and I was like, I wonder if that's going to play a big part in this, that, people are more confined into these cabins or something, and they can't speak. Maybe they're taking a vow of silence or whatever. I love films that are based on sounds and kind of make you be really quiet to figure out kind of what's going on. Quiet Place was so great for that, obviously. And the other one I was kind of thinking of was Hush, which is a Netflix film that had a deaf girl in it that was kind of getting a home invasion. And it was really neat. So any kind of film that plays off of sound, in my mind, I really enjoy. I think it's it's something different that enters your senses compared to just kind of creepy imagery, which I like as well. But it's nice to get a different type of sense in there. And I kind of always have thought, wouldn't it be cool to be able to give people more of an immersive experience on a film like this? Like, what if we were able to tap into everybody's senses? So not just sight and sound. What if we could tap into touch and smell and taste, and like be able to tap into all of those different senses in just one film? So I've always kind of thought that, and I think that that's kind of similar to what a lot of theaters are doing with like this D-Box stuff. They're trying to make it more of an immersive experience, which I think is neat. And this might be a really cool film to be able to see that way. So I guess my first impression of this is, I don't have a fucking clue. And that's like the nicest way of saying it. I know I'm gonna watch it. I know I'm probably gonna like it, hopefully. I will say that A24 seems to market their horror-based films potentially not the right way, because it is gonna it's not gonna help the casual fan make the correct decision. Casual fans probably are not going to like this film. Casual fans are probably not going to like most A24 films. So if you are a person that just, enjoys blood and gore, and there's nothing wrong with that, I enjoy it too. I love Evil Dead, and all of those type of films. But there's a difference between those types of films and films in the horror world that make you do a little bit more work. And A24 does that. A24 makes you kind of unplug and sit there and, get immersed in it, where, if you're watching Evil Dead, you can watch it and you don't really have to be paying too much attention to really know what's going on in the plot. And I feel like a lot of films are like that. I think the Halloweens are like that, most of the Nightmare on Elm Streets. Certainly the Jason films, you really don't need to know anything other than Jason's coming. So it's different to be able to see a film that just makes you think a little bit more. I appreciate those films. So if you are a casual fan, certainly give it a try, but know going into it that it's not going to be for everybody. If you did not like The Witch, if you did not like Hereditary, you probably are not going to like this film that much. It's the same, slow burn, I'm sure. I'm guessing they're going to keep with that. He certainly has a different, Ari Aster certainly has a different type of feel to his films. So just kind of keep an open mind when you go into this. And I want people to be a little bit more cautious when we do decide, hey, I'm going to go spend the $10 to go watch a film. Maybe think about it this way and be like, maybe I should do a little bit more research before, I spend $10 and I'm terribly disappointed on how the film ends, or how the film looked, or the fact that nothing happened for 20 minutes or whatever. I think as we get older and we get more advanced in our different genres that we enjoy, especially horror, we need to be a little bit more diligent about checking, the synopsis, checking who the production company is. If we know that this is IFC Midnight or A24 or something like that, we know that these are going to be different type of films. They're not just going to be straight horror films. If they're mass distributed the way Halloween was, or certainly the way Pet Sematary is going to be this summer, then they're probably going to be more for everyone. They're going to be more inclusive. And I think that sometimes in the horror genre, people kind of fail to recognize that there are different subgenres in horror. And maybe slow burn, we need to turn that into a subgenre just to get people to kind of understand that there's a difference between them. I'm very, very excited for this movie. I love slow burns. I love having to switch off and just get immersed into films. That's just my personal opinion. I do understand that A24 has a little bit of a problem the way that they market films. They marketed The Witch very differently than they probably should have. They marketed The Witch more as a straight horror film. I think that they marketed Hereditary kind of similarly. They marketed it to a point where they thought that they would get the money from the casual fans, which they did, But they wouldn't be able to kind of keep those casual fans. So, and I can't really blame them for that. They're in the business of making money, so they're marketing it the way they would any other horror film to get people that want to see horror films. If they marketed it as, hey, this is a slow burn film, it's going to take about 20-25 minutes for you to even understand what's going on. There's not going to be a lot happening every 5 seconds. You're going to have to really tune out. You're going to have to really get immersed. People might not be so into it. But when you market a film as, hey, here's this crazy, group of teenagers that go on this festival and shit goes crazy. And you throw in, some blood and some guts and some weird cult-like things. I think that's the way that they're the way that they're marketing that is for more people to be into it. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're not a fan of that. Maybe this isn't the right film for you. But I always recommend, if you don't want to blow $10 or however much it is where you guys live, go on a cheap day. Because the nice thing is about that, the movie theater takes the cut on that because they're doing the promotion. So you're still basically giving $10 to the guy who created this film, and to the whole cast and, to the production company. So you're still supporting the film even if it's only $5 out of your pocket or, a couple bucks out of your pocket versus, spending $10. The movie theater takes the hit on that. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's always nice to be able to support films that we believe in, to support production companies, to support the little guy. And I hear horror fans say this all the time, that there's no new films in Hollywood. Everything's a remake, everything's a reboot. Oh, this has already been done. Well, guys, here's a production company that's giving you new stuff, that's giving you stuff that is different, that's giving you stuff that, while it might not be exactly a straight slasher, it's fucking creepy. It's gonna take you back. It's gonna give you some creeptastic vibes. And I think that sometimes people forget about that. So I guess what I want to say in closing is that start having a little bit more of an open mind on films, and walk into films like A24 films, or films that you may not really have connected with. Start walking into those with just a little bit more of an open mind and say, you know what, I'm just going to walk into this, I'm going to shut myself off and of everything else that's going on, of my relationships and my work schedules and this and that, and I'm just going to walk in there, I'm going to shut off my brain, and I'm just going to pay attention to what's going on here. And I feel like most people are going to have a different experience than if they walk in and they've got everything else going on and all they want is just something that's going to blow up, or Jason's going to come out and kill him, or somebody's dying, or there's a bunch of blood and guts and that kind of stuff. If that's what you want, that's cool, that's great. I like that sometimes when I'm in a really crappy mood. Sometimes, yeah, I do like to be able to throw in Friday the 13th Part 8. Don't judge me, it's my favorite one, just saying. I like to throw that movie in and just be like, this is such a shit fest, but it's so fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think in some A24 films, and films of that caliber that are slow burning, I think we need as horror fans to just be a little bit more accepting, because the only production company that's continuously giving these guys a shot is A24 and IFC Midnight, and they're little independent, production companies. And we need to support them when we can, because without it, all we're going to continue to get is, a new Halloween every couple years, or a reboot to Pet Sematary, or, something like that. And while that's fine, it's not going to solve our problem of, it was only reboots, there's only remakes, there's only this, there's only that. We need to be a little bit more understanding that, maybe this guy in 5-10 years, Ari Aster, is going to come out with a straight slasher film. Maybe this is just the style that he likes right now. Maybe he is going to mold himself and make the film that you like. So maybe let's just be open, and let's just kind of leave it there. Let's be open and see what kind of happens with this. I am very, very excited to see Midsommer. I cannot wait until August to see this. It's a long time coming, but I am really, really pumped for it. So I hope that everybody else, you know, gets excited for these films. I'm excited for really most horror films that are coming out this summer. There's so many good ones. I'm very excited to see Pet Sematary. I'm super, super excited to see Us, which debuts in a couple weeks. I am very pumped for that. I bought preview tickets. I'll be doing another video on my first impressions for that one because I just love Jordan Peele. Get Out was just phenomenal. So I'm very, very excited to see Us. There's just going to be so many films this year, and it's nice to be able to kind of throw a new A24 film in the mix as well. So kind of do me a favor. Sound off below. Let me know how you guys feel about A24, little independent films, slow burn films. If you don't like them, what don't you like about them? Do you think that A24 markets things incorrectly? Do you think that you maybe have an idea of how to market things for them that still gets them money? Because I think that's a big thing too. If there's any big film that you're like really looking forward to, let me know because I'd love to watch another trailer on it. And if there's any questions or if you guys think I'm totally off base with all of this shit, by all means, you know, write me a little comment and say, Tara, you're fucking nuts. And I will accept that. So thank you guys for listening, and I will see you soon. Bye, everybody.